What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today is the day we are finally finishing our AFR gauge setup. We just got the exhaust back. It's got some beautiful welds on it with a brand new titanium bung on there. That way we can actually put our wideband O2 sensor right in there. We can connect everything up and get some actual readings. So the first step is going to be to connect the exhaust, obviously. So that's what I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the exhaust, bolt everything up to how it needs to be, and I'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, now as you can see, we've got the exhaust on. And on this side, you got the, where is it? The little hole for the O2 bung, which now that I am looking at it, I should have put the sensor in first, but I didn't do that. So I'm gonna do it harder and, you know, do it in this little gap. But for you guys, put the O2 sensor in first. That's what I would suggest, because now I'm gonna have to fight for this thing to put it in there. So let me do that real quick and I'll check in from there. Okay, the sensor is now in there. So definitely put it on before you put the exhaust on. It'll make it 10 times easier, because that freaking sucked. But that's okay, it's on there now. We've got the plug. We're gonna route it up, but before we do that, let's make sure everything works up here. So you have your gauge. You're gonna have 2 plugs. It's gonna come from the back. Every bike is different. You're gonna route it however works on your bike. Now, for my bike, I just came around. Obviously, it's a lot easier because I have the fuel cell and I don't have plastics or anything. So a little bit of this is more exposed, but not really. If you had your stock tank, you wouldn't see any of this, but my lines come across and through and down, okay, and run through. I have these wrapped up here because it does give you a lot of extra room. So this plug is going to go to this plug. Very simple. That's one of the plugs on the wideband sensor. Boom, you're already 50% of the way there. Now here is the hard part. This is going to give you a lot of wires. You're going to be looking at it like, what the heck is going on? You only need 2 wires. You need the power wire, which is your red wire here, and then you're going to need your black wire. That's the negative. It's all you're going to need to get this to work. The rest are for data logging, stuff like that. Just to get it to work, disregard these other wires and only worry about these 2 wires right here. Sorry if the noise is kind of loud, the AC thing is going on, but that's all you're going to need. So like, for example, if I stick this, let me try and do it real quick. If I stick this to the power and this one touches the negative, well, I can't do it one hand, but yeah, that's fine. So the negative, obviously, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and put a connector on the end of it. I'm just gonna stick it so I can put it straight to the battery. The other end with the red, I actually have a power wire because I made my rear brake work since I did the front brake delete. So I have an active wire that's here. I have an active wire that's here that turns on when the key turns on. So what I'm gonna do is connect it to there. But all you have to do is, for the red wire, find a wire on your bike that is on when the key turns on, okay? Let me show you. Okay, so on the S1000, this is my little brake module here, if you guys saw that video. On the S1000, the top right corner has a tap in a fuse right here. So look, let's say I didn't have any of this brake module or anything like that, okay? What you would do is you would, you know, you'd connect the tap a fuse or whatever it's called. You connect this to the end of this wire, right? Then it'll touch the fuse. When the key turns on, it'll give it power. It's that simple, right? So let me show you how that would work. And actually, before I do that, this is the same with any bike. Find a fuse that turns on when the key is on and turns off when the key is off. That's all you need to do. Or you can do what these race bike people do, and they just hot wire it to here, then they unplug it every time. I'm not trying to do that because, yes, I'm trying to make this a race bike, but I want it to be as straightable as possible. So I want it to turn off when the key turns off. Hence to why I'm connecting it to here. So let me do that real quick and I can show you kind of where we stand. All right, YouTube, I have went ahead and finished. It's that simple. Okay, so just to recap, you've got 2 wires that come through the AFR gauge. You need some type of mount. For my S1K, I'm using this mount that I found on eBay. It's a fork mount. It just clamps right there, doesn't move, works perfectly. So you've got the two plugs, you got to route it underneath, boom. You got to get your O2 sensor welded. If you have a titanium exhaust, make sure the bung is titanium. It's an M18 by 1.5. That's the bung you need. And then that'll fit the O2 sensor that comes with the AAM kit. Then you'll route it up once you get it welded in. Route it all the way up. Really, however works best for you. Like this, I'm gonna slowly figure out what is gonna work best, because I don't want, you know, too much tension on it or whatnot. Move this out the way. We'll put this over here, as it's, see how it's on the wires there. We want to make sure it's got enough tension, but you also don't want it to pull out either. So we've got our O2 wire here plugged in, boom, as you can see. Now the only 2 wires we're going to use is the power wire and the ground wire. So the ground wire I connected straight to the battery, boom. That's easy, negative, always that you can find. Next thing, you have the power, which the power, I already have like a tap of fuse here, so I just tapped into that line. But that's all. Essentially, this red line is going to be connected to this red line, which goes into your fuse, right? Remember, it's on the S1Ks, it's the top right corner. On the 2016 K46 S1000, I'm sure it goes to the rest. And boom, that's pretty much it. You go over here, turn this on, you can see it works. It'll say heat because it's got to heat up. But yeah, let me put this back together. Let me start the bike and let me show you that it actually is working. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys can hear me, but I do have it running right now, as you can obviously hear. It's heating up, it's doing its thing, that's normal. Once it heats up, it can start reading the AFRs. Obviously it's gonna look super high because it's a cold start, but it'll kind of mellow out and you can kind of see from there. But yeah, everything is working good. That's just gonna do its thing, heating up. We're gonna let it do whatever it's gotta do. But that is how you install your AFR gauge on your 2016 S1000 or car or other motorcycle, whatever. It pretty much all goes to the same, you know, it's all the same concept really. Find power, find ground, plug in the O2 sensor somewhere so it can read properly, and then mount the O2 sensor somewhere. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So a simple mod, you can see exactly what your fuel ratio is. You can use it for your tuning. And my purpose, I'm gonna data log and, you know, figure out, dial in the tune and everything so we can get the bike ready. But yeah, that's as simple as that. That's what you're gonna do. Yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, anything, you know, any recommendations, anything like that, make sure you guys comment down below. Like, subscribe, share, comment, interact in really some way, shape, or form. And then until next time, bye.